So here we have a special device that's made with a crumble control board, a battery pack and some other pieces of kit, and it's very intelligent. It can work out the colour of a glass of water, and it tells you the answer by setting this sparkle here to be just the colour of the water. So if we start with the clear water or the white water, we see that the system has worked out it's white and set the diode to the colour white. If we now try the beaker of red water, we see that it's worked out that the colour is red and set the sparkle to red. We try the green, we see that it's worked out that the water is green and it set the diode or the sparkle to green. And finally, if we change the water to be blue, it's worked out that the water colour is blue. So the question is, how does this work? See if you can have a go at thinking how this might work and explain it to your partner. If you were thinking the order is really important, I can do it in any order whatsoever. I could do green, I could do white, and it still works. So see if you can have a go at explaining that. Well, here's the explanation of how it works. The diode goes off because underneath this beaker in here is a push to activate switch, and the switch is only pushed down when there's some water inside the sample chamber. So ordinarily this sparkle here is switched off. It's only switched on when there's some weight of water pushing down on that switch, which is concealed under there, hidden from you. And the way it works is very simple. Inside this beaker, just on the side of this beaker here, we've got a light dependent resistor. On this side we've got a sparkle just acting as a constant light source to give us a nice bright sort of lighting conditions inside the cup. And the LDR makes readings, and these waters, the red one is the densest or darkest colour, so that actually gives you the kind of lowest light reading, and the program I've written, I'll show you in a moment, knows to then colour it red. The next densest colour or darkest colour is the green, and I'll show you in a moment that how that works, so it knows that. And then the lightest colour of all, the one I made sort of palest, was the blue. So it uses that. So it doesn't actually know the colour, it's just using an LDR and different amounts of colouring to actually restrict the light or reduce the amount of light that goes onto the LDR. Okay, and finally, obviously, the clear water doesn't reduce it at all, so we just set that to white. So let's take a look at the program behind this crumble project that can tell the colour of a beaker of water. And this is the program here, and the algorithm behind it, or the design behind it, is quite straightforward. It first of all just checks to see if there's actually a beaker sitting inside the test chamber, and it does that because we've got a push to activate switch which is connected to input A on the crumble, and we just check to see if that's low. We make sure the sparkle, the second sparkle, which is sparkle 1, because the first sparkle is sparkle 0 of the two that have been kind of daisy chained together. If you remember, 0 is the one that's on the side of the chamber just illuminating the glass for us, and 1 is the one that actually indicates the colour of the water. So just make sure that's turned off if there's nothing there. Otherwise, we come into this section of the code where we take a reading from the LDR by storing into a variable called light, which we've created. We created a variable called light, and we put in there the value from input C, analog C, on the crumble, so we get an actual reading, a number. And I work these numbers out by just trial and error, just doing it and seeing what values I was getting. And so if I had the red colouring, which if you remember was the most dense or the most opaque one, it fell between this range, these two values. So I've got a conditional statement here that just says if it's between 190 and 250, then set it to red. And then similarly, one for green with slightly different values there on the range, and same again for blue, and same again for when it was just clear water, if you remember. So that's the code there. It's just a sort of sequence of selection statements that are just looking for whether this light reading that's come off the LDR is between certain ranges, and then based on that it sets the kind of the indicator sparkle, the one that tells us what colour the water is, to the correct value.